turn this off and make sure. Oh, I turned it on. Damn it. You can just keep it. Thanks. I want to talk about the word torture to you today. Torture is applied to millions of people that are living today around the world. About 2/3 of government, maybe 3/4 of governments torture as a state policy. Um, and if you don't know any victim of torture or have never spoken to one, which I would advise you to if you ever get an opportunity, is it is so debasing of an experience that it's when you say the word, well, we want to stop torture, you really kind of don't know what it means. It's such a powerful destabilizing element in our society because it causes tremendous anxiety for the rest of your life, depression for the rest of your life sometimes. Sometimes people can't recoup and they kill themselves. Uh, but it breaks intimacy for women, and for women in prison, it's always horrible. Not for a day, not for a week, but sometimes for months on end. Um, and there's very little accountability. Very few torturers ever go to jail, if any. I'd say 99.9 of them never go to jail. And so it's an act of governments that goes every day, practically, around the world to thousands of people. And the torturers never go to prison. It's rare when we catch one, and it takes a long court battle and a lot of proof to be able to even do that. So it's small numbers even when you try to do it. And so, in a sense, the rehabilitation of those people takes an immense inner force from within them to bring themselves back from that terrible debasement and the anxiety that it causes and the fear that it causes, and it stays with them for the rest of their life for many of them, and that's the hard part. And so we need centers for victims of torture around the world to help people to come back from that kind of experience. It's like a war effort with with our veterans who have such difficulty later in their life coming back from a war. It's the same as a torture victim. And so when how do you find out about torture? Well, if you ever know somebody who survived it and they want to talk about it, ask them about it. If they don't want to talk about it, it's perfectly fine. Many don't want to talk about it. It's too scary, you know, but it's one that has to be explained, because otherwise, when you say 2/3 of the world torture, you don't know how damaging governments are to people every day in singular ways, one person after another. And you have to really understand that to come to grips with what human rights means. And in order to have a movement to stop that, how big we have to be able to stop that kind of debasement. Um, and anytime, if you're ever anybody in your family is picked up or disappeared or tortured, you will pray to God or to whoever you believe in for relief. You will pray there are some human rights groups out there to help you. You will beg, borrow, and steal to get that person out of that torture chamber. And so, in a sense, the movement of the human rights movement has to have a certain urgency, because it's got to stop it, not just talk about it, but actually stop it from happening. And so when there's a shift, like there was in Chile and Argentina with the mothers that disappeared, each one of those nations that saved those countries from torturing again, they saved their country from an immense embarrassment and terrible debasement of their citizens. So when that shift occurs and there's no more torture in a government, whew, that's a big break for humanity living with that border. And so, in a sense, when you hear the word about torture, just and the United States did it after 9/11, and we tortured a lot of chasing people in ISIS, and that us doing it debases us, and we didn't get much information anyway. They say we did, but we never really did. And really, what happened is that it drags our flag into the dirt for a day or two, or a week, or a month, or years. It becomes an embarrassment. And so we got to stay out of that. Even our own nation did it after 9/11. And so it's not just those people over there, it's us too. And we have to be careful and look out and really begin understanding the word torture and what it means to so many. Thanks for listening to this.